The City of Houston has been collecting artwork for about 100 years. Public art is paid for and purchased for the citizens of Houston. We have about 300 in the city collection. Anywhere you look around Houston, you'll have the opportunity to see artwork in our corporate and private collections, school and university collections, as well as in municipal facilities. Sam Houston Monument is a bronze sculpture by Enrique Serraccio. It was made in 1925. It was donated to the city, and it was installed in 1928. It is an equestrian monument on top of a granite base. So the sculpture and the granite form a monument that visitors can walk through and rest in. It is a fabulous entryway in Herman Park. The Sam Houston Monument is well recognized by young and old. Houston artist Burt Long did a fabulous project, a painting called Art Life, all in capital letters. This was a commission for the Houston Public Library Luscan neighborhood branch.
It's an idea 20 years ago, and what it's about is, it's not chronological, but it's simply a story talking about mankind, and artists in particular, the journey which we undertake in this world to go wherever we're going to go and try to do whatever we do.
It depicts a man in a boat, and it's a self-portrait of the artist. He's in a very choppy seas, but he's steering towards this golden sunset. In the sky are icons of art history, including works by Picasso, Rembrandt, the Benin sculptors of Northern Africa. In the air is a G. Benz quilt. On the boat with him are some contemporary artists who are joining him in this voyage. He looks back over his shoulder as if inviting the viewers to join him, cross the stormy seas, and look towards the goals ahead. Culture, iconic visions of self-expression and discovery. Gemini 2 by artist Richard Lipholtz is one of our most exciting projects and design or integrated projects in the City of Houston collection. It is in the atrium of Jones Hall, which is the premier theatrical display hall in Houston. Richard Lipholtz, a New York artist, has created many works that are integrated with architecture, and he worked directly with the architect and the donors of Jones Hall to create a work that really captured the excitement of the time. There are thousands of aluminum rods and gold-plated wire that create a sense of time and movement through this fabulous space. The work was donated by the Jones family, and it's one of our most impressive pieces of civic art in the collection. Henry Moore's large spindle piece is a wonderful work of art in Buffalo Bayou Park, visible along Allen Parkway. Henry Moore is a significant modernist artist. He started working in the 20s and 30s, really with a lot of cubist and quasi-surrealist motifs, but he became a master in bronze and granite sculpture. The light spikes along Will Clayton Parkway at the Houston Airport IAH is one of our most stunning works of art. It consists of 8 light spikes representing the countries that participated in the 1990 Economic Summit here in Houston. The work by artist Jay Baker is stunning during the day with blocks of light radiating out from a central point, but at night it's even more spectacular.
Once again, final boarding call, flight 2268 to Westport Beach, departing ID 85A.
The Euston Bayou is one of our favorite pieces of public art created in partnership with the Houston Airport System. The work by Houston artist Dixie Friend Gay is a mosaic consisting of hundreds of thousands of small mosaic pieces that create a lush landscape of wildlife and bayou plants on an undulating wall. The artist achieved a masterpiece in creating a sense of wildlife, color, and outdoor light on a wall that was otherwise be blank and bare. Synchronicity of Color by Austin artist Margot Sawyer is one of the first pieces that Houston Arts Alliance completed under the Present for Art ordinance. Done in 2008, the work covers the garage entrances to the parking below Discovery Green. But the story is not only the exterior of the work, which is very jazzy and colorful, but also the interior. Vaquero by artist Luis Jimenez is a wonderful work of fiberglass sculpture. The work is significant for several reasons. This is one of the first outdoor pieces that Mr. Jimenez completed. It was so successful in design and aspiration that he was actually asked to edition the work. A copy of the work sits in the Smithsonian Sculpture Yard. Houston has the original. Houstonians should be proud of their civic art collection. It embraces a wide array of styles and aspirations, from sculpture to painting, murals to weaving, to create a cultural experience interwoven into the functioning of our city.
The Menil collection has about 16,000 pieces, and it's a growing collection. And I would say there's at least 4 major areas of strength. One of them is antiquities, ancient and medieval art. And then, of course, we have the non-Western collections, like we have a very strong collection of African art and Oceanic art and Native American. Even the architecture is world-class, and people are coming here from all over the world just to see the architecture. Then we, of course, have really great, famous art. There is an understated elegance here, and a beauty, really, and an integrity of the place that is very rare. And I think this is a moving place. This is an unbelievable place. So I think there's lots of reasons to be proud of the Menil collection. The model is kind of the laboratory for us to, design exhibitions, to think about where and how to place the works of art. And what's great about it, it's a work of art in itself, actually, because most of these many thousand pieces they're all handmade, and they're all made by our staff, all of which are artists in this case. And they are a great way to conceive our exhibitions.
The Menil family sort of selected these pieces with so much precision that you have ended up with some of the best works by some of the best artists. One of the things that I think is a true hallmark of the Menil collection is your approach to the museum. If you park your car in the parking lot on West Alabama, you walk past a large sculpture by Jim Love, who was a local artist here, that big red jack. And after that, as you make your way to the front of the museum, you're actually going across 3 different sculptures by the artist Michael Heiser before you get to the sound installation. The sound installation outside is by Max Neuhaus, and what a treat and a pleasure, how fortunate we are to have had Max here for an extended period of time to create that piece. There are artists that you'll see in 20th century, such as Picasso, and there's probably 3 or 4 works in there right now. And that's indicative, I think, of Picasso's importance to 20th century art, but also of the presence of the work in the collection. If you go further through the galleries, you'll see many works by an artist like Robert Rauschenberg, a very, very important artist to us, much more contemporary. At the same time, you have galleries of African art, galleries of oceanic art, galleries devoted solely to surrealism. You can see there's a certain breakdown in modern and contemporary where on one hand you have artists like René Magritte and Max Ernst in the surrealist galleries, where we have in excess of 50 works by Magritte, more than 70 works by Ernst. I think is a nice transitional piece between, say, the abstract artists in the collection and then the more representational artists or the pop artists. Andy Warhol, like many people, has had a profound effect on the way that we look at and consider visual art. Is it a work of art, or is it a piece of advertising, or is it a photograph, just a repeated image that's been culled from a newspaper or a magazine? Andy Warhol forces us to think about art in the real world. Amidst our offices, we have visible storage upstairs in what we call the treasure rooms. And that was something that Dominique de Menil, working with Renzo Piano, was very much interested in. You can, get a feel for what a work is going to look like when you're hanging it with something else. And that's a pretty special part of the collection.
What drew me to African art was the works themselves. They just ignited my imagination. There are about 1,000 pieces of African art, and in the African collection we see a number of works that are very surrealist in appearance. The bulk of the collection was acquired between the 1950s and the 1970s. The connection between African and modern art is one thing that have inspired the de Menils to collect in this area. People are always very surprised and delighted by what they find here.
The Menil collection is a gift to the world, and mostly to the city of Houston. There's no entrance fee, even all our very expensive projects, temporary exhibitions and so on, programs, they're always free. We are very well known all over the world. We have a lot of international visitors. We have a lot of national visitors too.
In terms of looking at art on a sort of global scale, de Menil has had a profound effect on putting Houston on the map for many people. So there is all of that happening and all of that going on, which helps make Houston a place where the arts matter, where it matters in people's lives.
So I'm in the Theater Under the Stars Humphrey School of Musical Theater. Right now I'm appearing in Cabaret at Theater Under the Stars at the Hobby Center. We get to watch the professionals every night, so I love watching their acting techniques and their singing, and it's just a really good learning experience because this is what I want to do when I'm older. Just being on the stage with all the lights and all the costumes and the makeup, it's just an awesome feeling, and just to see all the audience members laughing and having a good time. We have the opportunity that lots of kids don't. PVA is a great opportunity because there's not a lot of performing arts schools in the nation. So for us to go to a school and develop our craft and work with these amazing other teenagers who want to do this, it's just really neat. It's an amazing opportunity in Houston. It's just a very special place to do performing arts.
Houston Center for Contemporary Craft is one of a handful, literally handful, of institutions in the United States that's dedicated to fine craft and the presentation of craft, supporting working artists and acting as a resource for the community. What sets us apart amongst that small group of peers is that we have an artist in residency program. So there are living, breathing, working artists on site during all of our public hours. So the public can come in, they can talk to the artists working in their studios. They can see world-class exhibitions in our main gallery. They can take workshops, they can get their hands into the craft media. Houston Center for Contemporary Craft was founded with a mission to advance education about the product, process, and history of craft. So we display and present objects made of the primary craft materials, which are clay, wood, metal, glass, fiber, which includes paper and fabric, felt, those kind of things. And a lot of artists now are also working in what we call repurposed materials, recycled materials, found objects.
Lathes are kind of different. It's the wood moves and you hold the tools in your hand, kind of the opposite of every other kind of woodworking there is. The best thing a lathe does is making a piece of square wood round. Just make it round first. This was a tree from Hurricane Ike, and the gentleman I made this for wanted to remember the tree, so rather than just, you know, set it out on the curb, the tree goes to the landfill and it's a huge mess, make something to remember the tree out of. It was kind of very fun to do. I like doing pieces like this that mean something to somebody intrinsically in the piece already out of the gate. I love that.
Our message to visitors is if the studio doors are open, you're more than welcome to go in and chat with the artists. And people do take advantage of that.
I really enjoy people coming by and seeing me work because it helps them to appreciate the crafts that we do and the effort it takes to complete something that's aesthetic and artistic. This particular pot is going to be dry in about 3 days, and I'll put that in the first kiln firing then, and then I'll have to glaze it after it comes out. This is bisque. This has been fired once, and then I have to glaze it and decorate it and refire it. It's a wonderful opportunity because it gives craftsmen an opportunity to share their skills with the general public.
When I'm doing a curated exhibition, I pick a theme, and sometimes I pick the theme based on maybe an artist that I am familiar with. And then once I've chosen the artist, I ask them to submit anywhere from 8 to 20 pieces that I can choose from. And then from those pieces, I choose the pieces from the artist kind of based on what works great with other artists and what kind of makes a more cohesive exhibit. So I kind of like to have all the artwork out in the gallery on tables, and then I kind of sit around it and walk around it and just kind of see what work well with each other and play with each other.
Artists in residence are chosen based on the type of media that they do, the quality of the work. That's first and foremost, that we look for really high quality craftsmanship in the work. And it's always very interesting how the artists put their own stamp on the space. When they come in, it's a very plain white box with a window and a sink, and it becomes their own very quickly.
What is a fiber artist? Well, fiber is our medium, so anything that's made with fiber as its main component. That could be anyone from a hand weaver, an embroiderer, a quilter. There's all sorts of different variations of fiber artists. I'm going to start quilting this piece. My process is I do a drawing of my quilts first, and the pieces are then printed on the big printer that's over in the corner, and then pieced together, and then I do the quilting. My theme is always women, about the sort of practical side of womanhood, the busy things that we do every day. Houston's a really great place to live because, first of all, as a quilter, this is where the biggest quilt festival in the entire world is held. It's every October. Houston, I don't think, gets enough credit for how much art is going on in Houston. I think we have more artists per capita than most big cities, and we just have a great time in Houston.
I am working in enamel on copper. Enamel is actually a powdered glass. As you can see here, it's like powdered sugar. And it's actually just pure glass. And the colors come from the minerals that are in the glass. Reds have gold in them. And then they're fired in a kiln anywhere from 1500 to about 1800 degrees. The space here at the center is wonderful in many different ways for all different kinds of artists. The facilities, first of all, are so good. You know, I have a vent hood, I have air conditioning, I have great light. But besides that, just the contacts that we make, the people that come in. I mean, we have gallery owners coming through. We have, you know, patrons, collectors, and even other artists that you really can bounce ideas off of. So it's really just been a fabulous thing for me. Having somewhere that you're committed to go to every day is a really nice thing as well.
Visitors can go into Asher Gallery, which is a retail store, and touch, acquire, have that tangible experience. The Craft Garden at Houston Center for Contemporary Craft is also sort of a unique twist. One of the things that I love about Houston is how green it is, and we have made our own little contribution to that. All of the materials in the Craft Garden can some way be used, whether it is for dyes, for weaving. We grow cotton that is then carded and spun, bamboo that can be used for structures, plants that can be pulped into paper for paper making. From time to time we will grow gourds that then can become musical instruments. So it's really kind of a well-rounded way to be able to point out and make the connection with the visitor that this is where things come from. And that's what so many children don't have the ability or the opportunity to make that connection today. We can take them out in the garden and say, here's a plant with a cotton ball on it, and this turns into your t-shirt.
Houston is so fortunate to have an institution like this because we do concentrate on contemporary crafts, and we have a really different philosophy than the majority of museums.
It's a very rich experience that's offered here.
The Houston Children's Chorus is comprised of approximately 200 kids in grades 4 through 8, and they do about 75 performances a year. The kids come from all areas of the city, from the inner city and the suburbs, and we pride ourselves in the fact that they truly do all styles of music. And the amazing thing is that these kids sing all of that music from memory. And many times during the year they'll learn languages. They'll learn maybe 14 different languages during the year of songs. So these kids are just incredible. When I came to Houston in the early 80s, I noticed that there was no chorus like this for children from all walks of life and all ethnic groups and so forth. And so I just kind of had this vision in the early 80s to start something, and in '89 it happened. And that very first year we had 150 children, and that year we also sang for a UNICEF event with Michael Tilson Thomas and Audrey Hepburn, so that kind of put us on the map. Our repertoire runs the gamut from pop to classical to Broadway music to Texas music and folk songs from around the world. We're in the midst of our summer music fun shop for children. Actually, we began with pre-K and kindergarten all the way up through 8th grade. And the older children, 3rd through 8th grade, are in intense rehearsals for preparation for a summer pops concert. Well, the purpose of the children's course is primarily educational in that we're teaching children to achieve high standards of choral singing. The second aspect is we're teaching them discipline, self-control, teamwork, responsibility. And actually the music is the easiest part. A lot of our kids will go into music. We don't expect that, but it just happens. We have several kids that have gone on to music theater. We have a lot of kids on Broadway right now. You know, many people call the Houston Children's Chorus Houston's small ambassadors to the world, because we do travel overseas so much. But not just that, but the fact that we represent Houston at so many big civic events. When world leaders are here or corporate leaders are here, they'll call on us to represent Houston, mainly because we are so ethnically diverse in our choir. We've been to New Zealand, we've been to Russia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Great Britain, Scotland. We recently returned from China, which was an incredible experience because we sang in some glorious concert halls in Beijing and Shanghai. I feel that we are unique in the city because we do provide music education and performance for children, and we represent the very best of Houston's children. We're diverse. We represent every ethnic group in the city. And of course our kids are polite, well-mannered, and just gracious when you meet them, and they sing with great energy and great smiles.